Today, I'll share with you the story of Klynn Scales, a 9-year-old girl who would daily wave to a police officer who passed by her house. One day, when Klynn didn't appear to give her customary wave, the officer felt something was wrong and decided to investigate. What he discovered inside the girl's house was a scene that would shock even the strongest. Are you curious? Then follow the story. Klynn Scales lived with her mother and 2 younger brothers in a rather troubled area of Kansas, in the United States. Their mother struggled with substance addiction, which often prevented her from taking proper care of her children. Sometimes, she would disappear for days while seeking drugs, leaving the children alone at home or wandering the streets without adult supervision. The family's problematic situation was known to the local social services, who classified them as a dysfunctional family. However, no concrete action was taken to help them. Klynn, as the eldest daughter, felt it was her duty to take care of her siblings in her mother's absence. The problem was that her mother would leave without any warning, often without leaving any food. Thus, at 9 years old, Klynn found herself forced to steal food from nearby stores to feed her siblings. This painful scenario shows the children facing their mother's neglect and the indifference of the authorities, with no alternative but to commit minor offenses to survive. Fortunately for Klynn and her brothers, an unexpected figure appeared to transform their lives. Officer Jeffrey Colvin, who patrolled the suburbs where they lived, passed by their house daily. Unbeknownst to Jeffrey, Klynn secretly watched him from the window, admiring the police car and the officer's uniform. Jeffrey's friendly expression made the girl feel a certain sense of security, even though she was in one of the city's most dangerous areas. Klynn maintained this routine until one day, driven by an impulse, she waved at the officer as he passed by. Jeffrey returned the wave, initiating an unexpected bond. He was already aware of the challenges faced by Klynn's family, including reports of a child stealing food from local stores. Despite this, since social services were already monitoring the family's situation, he felt limited in his capacity to intervene directly. However, his concern for the girl and her brothers grew day by day. He made an effort to become a constant and reliable presence in the lives of the children, waving to Klynn whenever he passed. This simple yet significant gesture represented a source of comfort and stability. However, the connection between the officer and the girl quickly strengthened. The waves evolved into conversations and frequent visits to Klynn's home, where Jeffrey learned about the girl's life and her siblings. On some visits, he brought bags of candy, brightening the children's day with this simple act of kindness. For Klynn and her siblings, accustomed to an environment of neglect and scarcity, these moments of attention and care were precious. These regular interactions made Jeffrey the first adult figure in whom Klynn truly trusted, and with whom she could establish a genuine emotional bond. Through his kindness and attention, Jeffrey became a vital presence in the children's lives, demonstrating that even small gestures can have a profound and lasting impact on someone's life. One particular event deeply illustrates the significant role the officer took on in these children's lives. During one of his routine rounds, Jeffrey made a special stop at Klynn's house, greeting her as the girl who always waves through the window. He wanted to have a more serious conversation with her, saying he always kept an eye on her and her siblings to ensure they were safe. The officer reaffirmed his commitment to their safety, making a pinky promise, assuring that he would always be ready to help when needed. That same day, Klynn confided in Jeffrey her dream of becoming a police officer, expressing her admiration for him and her desire to take care of people just as he did. On a seemingly ordinary day, while Jeffrey was patrolling the street of Klynn's house, he expected to see the girl waving excitedly from the window as usual. However, when this didn't happen, concerns began to arise. Knowing the difficult situation of the girl's family, the officer decided to act quickly. He rang the doorbell and knocked several times, calling out the girl's name, but without getting a response. Driven by concern, Jeffrey decided to enter the house to check if the children were okay. The scene he encountered was desolate. Klynn was lying on the living room floor, visibly pale and nearly fainting. Upon noticing the presence of her police officer friend, she tried to speak but could only whisper that she was having trouble breathing. Her younger siblings were huddled in a corner, crying in fear at the condition of their sister, who had taken on the responsibility of caring for them. Jeffrey acted immediately, placing Klynn and her siblings in the patrol car and rushed to the nearest hospital. In the emergency room, it became clear that Jeffrey had saved Klynn's life. The doctors diagnosed her with severe malnutrition, which had caused her fainting and which, without immediate intervention, could have resulted in an even greater tragedy that day. Thanks to Jeffrey's attention and quick action, a crisis was averted, reaffirming the importance of his presence in the lives of these children. After more than a month of hospital treatment, Klynn and her siblings received news that they would not be returning to their mother's house. They were adopted and moved to Galveston County, Texas, over 1,200 kilometers from their hometown. Klynn's farewell was a joyful yet sad moment for Jeffrey. He was happy for her, despite not having the chance to say goodbye in person. In the following years, the officer often wondered how she was adapting to her new life, hoping she was safe and happy. A new chapter in their story of friendship unfolded in 2018, almost 2 decades after their first meeting. Jeffrey received an invitation to a police academy graduation ceremony in Galveston County. Initially, he was surprised, as he didn't know anyone from that area. However, upon seeing the name of the person who had invited him, he couldn't hold back his tears. It was Klynn Scales, now 29 years old, who against all odds was graduating as a police officer in the city she now called home. Jeffrey accepted the invitation with emotion and had the honor of presenting the badge to Klynn. During the ceremony, in her graduation speech, Klynn mentioned how each person in her life had a specific purpose, highlighting that Jeffrey's role was to teach her about integrity and to pursue her dreams. So what do you think of Klynn Scales' journey? Do you know similar stories? Leave your comment below. Thank you for watching and staying with us until now. I hope to see you in the next video. A big hug and see you soon. Goodbye.